Welcome back to Propology 101, and today we are going to continue our discussion on the E-11. We're basically going to be talking about the hero E-11 from Empire Strikes Back. Now, I know this blaster is still set up in the A&H configuration, and I had planned to set this up as an Empire Strikes Back hero. Problem is, I sold this blaster, and the owner has graciously allowed me to hold on to it and finish our discussion on the E-11 before I send it off to him. So let's get started right on to the Empire Strikes Back E-11. This blaster, the hero version of this blaster, is the blank firing, and that's how we're going to refer to it, as the blank firing or the hero. It's first seen in Echo Base while our heroes are trying to escape. The stormtroopers that attack the Millennium Falcon are carrying the blank firing E-11, the hero E-11. You will also see this in the carbon freezing chamber. It's also carried by stormtroopers. They get some really good close-up shots of Princess Leia and Chewie and everything, and the stormtroopers that are guarding them have the hero version. Now, you will also see this when our heroes are escaping Cloud City. Chewie has one, and Princess Leia has one. And that's a funny note. I rewatched these scenes preparing for this, and I never realized that Lando didn't have an E-11 during the escape. He was running around without a blaster. He only acquires Chewie's E-11 when Chewie gets on the Millennium Falcon. You never see the handoff, but that's the first time Lando actually has it, and he covers Princess Leia to get on the Falcon and get away. Now, we've talked about the history of the Sterling in the past two episodes, but let's talk a little bit about the operation, and it'll clue in to reasons how and why the heroes are set up a certain way as opposed to the stunts and like the sandcast and whatnot. And basically, the Sterling submachine gun is a blowback operated open bolt gun. It means it fires from an open bolt. You pull the trigger, the bolt slides forward, grabs a round out of the magazine, and then drives it home into the barrel and then fires it. And then the blast from firing the round causes the bolt to come back, and it'll lock in the firing position, or if it's in full auto, it'll just fall again and repeat the process. With that being said, in the first episode, talking about the New Hope hero, we talked about how the scope mount starts up front in the vent hole on the top of the blaster, the rear vent hole, and ends at the rear sight. And then we also talked about the sandcast, where the scope mount ends in front of the rear sight. Now, the reason why it couldn't end on the hero and blank firing versions before the rear sight is because you have to drill a hole and mount it. And what you would do is the screw or rivet would be inside the travels area of the spring and the bolt, and it wouldn't function. So that's why on the hero blank firing versions, the scope mount ends in the rear sight. Now, moving down, we have our scope. Our scope is an M19 scope. All the E-11s in Empire Strikes Back use the M19 scope. It's the same scope that's on the DL-44s, Han and Luke's DL-44s. This is the M38 scope. The M19 scope is slightly smaller, uses the same footprint, but it's smaller. And it also has a little spot for a light to be plugged into the side of it. We've already talked about the scope mount, and the only other thing that really makes up the Empire Strikes Back E-11, it has the same cut-down 10-round magazine, and it also has 6 T-rails, and that's it. It's pretty much, there's no counterbox and there's no tubes on the hero blank firing E-11s from Empire Strikes Back. I talk a lot with costumers, and most of my blasters are sold for stormtroopers doing costumes and whatnot. And I've actually sold a couple for a stage play of Star Wars. They were doing scenes of Star Wars. It was I believe a college production, and funny enough, it was in Canada, and they were doing parts of all the original movies. They were just doing scenes, and the ones that I supplied to their production were actually used in the cell block shootout. They recreated that scene live on stage. It was a long time ago, but it was pretty cool. But anyway, Empire Strikes Back, as far as costuming goes, the Empire Strikes Back E-11 can also be used as a New Hope E-11 because of its setup. But A New Hope E-11, like for example this one, would not fit with a Empire Strikes Back Stormtrooper if you're getting that technical. And I know there's some people out there that are that technical because there are enough differences in the Stormtrooper costumes that you could build it to be an Empire Strikes Back costume or a New Hope costume. That pretty much makes up everything that went into creating the Empire Strikes Back Hero E-11. Join us next time when we actually do the Empire Strikes Back Stunt E-11.